Hello everyone and welcome to the video. I'm BA RS and this video is for tips and tricks for the RuneScape 3 Catalyst League. First off, a few things about me. I have played RuneScape since 2004 when my brother introduced me to the game. I've played multiple account builds on both RuneScape 3 and Old School, including mains, Iron Man accounts, and most recently my Chunkman account on Old School that I will be starting a series on soon. I've played all of the Old School leagues, getting Rune tier in the first 4 and Dragon tier in the most recent league. With that, let's look at the 5 tips I have for you to get Dragon tier. The first tip I have is to pace yourself. Within the league, 8 weeks is a long time. It might feel short, but as you're actually playing through it, there may be times where the game starts to lull and feel kind of bland. That's normal. Just continue to work on the things that you need to get done. I do know RS3 has a lot more content when it comes to like bosses and progression, so there might still be some things, but be careful because you really just need to pace yourself. The next part of pacing yourself is to not burn out. It's really easy for you to start so fast in the league and to get all these things done and then kind of be left not knowing what you need to do, and then you end up missing your goal because you burn out and you stop playing the game. Also, make sure to do stuff outside of RuneScape. Go watch a sporting event, play a game of Valorant or Fortnite or anything like that. It's really important that you do this and you take time away from RuneScape because then your hours of playing RuneScape are going to be much more productive. Also, make sure to spend time with others in and out of the game, whether it's talking to people in the game about your different plans with your relic choices, different tasks that you're doing, how you're accomplishing certain goals, or spending time with family outside the game. It's really important to do these things because it's going to keep your mindset good for when you're grinding on the game. Last for pacing yourself is have checkpoints along the way. It's important to track your points and know where you are and where you need to be for the 8 weeks to get to your goal. A good way to do this is at the beginning of the league, try to focus on getting about 2,000 points a day. And as you get towards the end of the league, focus on getting about 1,000 points a day. If you look at it, there's 8 weeks to the league, which is about 2 months. So if you look at getting Dragon tier, which is 60,000 points, if you're getting about 1,000 points a day, you should be able to hit your Dragon tier goal. And I would also recommend front load your points. If you front load your points, the points at the end of the league are a lot harder to come by, even though they're harder tasks, because now you're grinding out several hundred kills at a boss for a specific drop. And it kind of changes the perspective on, okay, well, I did a bunch of 10-point tasks and I got 400 points really quick within the first hour to 3 hours of the league. But if you don't front load your points and you get to the end of the league, you could be waiting for 400 points on a major boss drop, and that could take you 2 days versus the 3 hours from the very beginning. The next tip I have is to go in with a plan. To start out, plan 25 to 50 tasks, maybe more depending on if they're medium tasks or easy tasks. You want to aim for that 750 points to get your tier 2 relic. This is where you get the 6 times XP multiplier, which is going to really accelerate your account. In addition to this, plan out the order in which you're going to level your skills. That very first day, literally the first hour but you're on the league, you're going to be leveling skills, and if you have a plan to go, okay, I'm going to get level 40 in this skill and then I'm going to move to this skill which is in the next town over, anything like that, it's going to really help you with your progression early game, and it's going to help you get to the quests that you need to do. Have in mind the quest requirements, because once you get that tier 2 relic, if you have all those quest requirements, you can then use the experience from the quest rewards to really accelerate your gameplay. The next part is to synergize your relics. When you plan out your relics, plan to take relics that complement each other, not relics that help with the same skill. An example of this would be the Assassin's Insight over the Fairy's Flight if you have Farming Frenzy. This is because the farming patches teleports are less useful if you have Farming Frenzy, where you're just going to solve your Herblore and farming all in one. Another example may be not taking Production Master if you use Rejuvenated to get a second tier 1 relic, as they solve kind of what Production Master is going for, processing the materials as you go. The fourth tip that I have for going with the plan is to find guides to level and progress your account. For many people, this may be the first time they've played an Iron Man account. Finding guides that can help you with some of those things that are different than playing in the main game are really going to help you, because you can't go out and just buy all the materials to get, 99 crafting or 99 smithing. You actually have to go out and do the work yourself, and you have to get the materials. If you're not sure how to do that, I definitely recommend going and finding guides on Iron Man training before the league starts so that you can progress your account forward. Set and achieve small goals at a time. It's really important to not aim all the way towards the end and to look at the small incremental goals as you go so that you can get to the point where you want to be at the end of the game. Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither is Dragon Tier. It really takes just plans from the very beginning, setting those goals, getting those small goals, slowly at a time so that you can build up to it. Tip 3 is be flexible when plans change. Use the wiki. If you have everything planned out and you had a guide that you were following off the wiki and it's not going how you wanted it to, be flexible. Go back on the wiki, find a different route. That's one of the really cool things about League is the experience multipliers are so quick. If you're at the end game and you don't have this drop that you need, well, there's other opportunities and there's other options that you can go towards to get a different weapon or to get a different armor piece that's just going to be just as good because of the bonuses that we have in leagues. Don't focus on one drop or piece or of content too long. It could lead to burnout and frustration. It kind of goes back to what I was just saying. That long grind is frustrating. I'm trying to remember which drop it was, but there was a drop in the 4th league that I was trying to get, and I just couldn't get the drop, and I moved on to something else, and immediately I was like 400 or 500 points away from the next relic, and when I moved on, I got those 400 or 500 points almost immediately when I had just burnt myself out trying to get this drop. So after I got the relic, it was great and I got to experience the relic, but I spent so much time trying to do a method where after I got the relic, it would have changed the pacing. Have a backup plan ready. We're all going to have a plan for day one. We're all going to have a plan for, what we're going to do at the beginning of the league. Have a backup plan. In the previous leagues, there's stuff that bottleneck. There's tasks that might not go the way that you want them to, where, day one, you're going to have 2,000 people in a world pretty consistently, and things are going to bottleneck. Things are going to get to the point where you might not have access to the tasks that you were planned out. Have a plan B and just have things that you can fall back on. Check once a day or between larger tasks on easier tasks that you may have missed. I'm not sure if it's going to be the same with the RS3 wiki, but on the old school wiki, you could actually click off tasks as you went on, or you could actually look up your account name and it would pull up the task that you had completed. If they have the same thing, you can actually filter this by the amount of people who have completed a task, and you can find out which tasks other people have done that are easier tasks that you can complete. This is really, really helpful because just as I was saying previously with focusing on that drop where I couldn't get the drop and it was preventing me from getting the next relic tier, this is how I found those other, 400 to 500 points that I needed to get that relic tier. Is I just went back on the wiki, refocused and looked up tasks that were easier for me to do, and I got them right away. So that's something that is really important to just occasionally be doing. I recommend doing it once a day, just because if you're just doing these big long tasks every day, it's going to burn you out. It's going to grind on you. Next tip is prioritize multipliers before overlevel. So one of the things with this is use quest experience rewards later to stack with higher multipliers. We all know the waterfall quest gives a bunch of experience. It can be really good to do early game because it's going to give you a bunch of levels to start out with. But if you actually save it towards late game, you can multiply those by, I think we start out with a 4 times multiplier from the beginning of the league. You can multiply it by 6 or 8 times if you wait just a little bit longer in the league to finish the quest. And that's a lot of experience that you don't now have to grind for. I wouldn't recommend doing that with waterfall quest, but that's just one of the better examples of an early game quest that gives a lot of XP that if you backload it towards your second or third XP multiplier, you're going to get a lot more out of it. Don't overtrain skills before you receive relic buffs for that skill. A good example of this is the Rejuvenated Relic. Let's say to start out the league you picked Excavator, and then once you take the Rejuvenated Relic, you go and take Divine Gatherer. Now you can train your Divination and Woodcutting, but if you trained it beforehand, you're kind of wasting out on the buffs that you would have gotten from that relic to start with. Don't tackle high level content before getting basic gear and skills. A lot of people are going to go into this league, they're going to want to rush, high tier bosses. It's not worth it. It's better to get all of your skills ready, to get your basics done. You're going to be powerful once you get that first combat relic, but if you wait and you do it, you're going to save yourself time and effort by getting stronger gear where you can kill those bosses faster. Weigh the opportunity cost of early leveling for tasks versus faster leveling post higher multiple. Ultimately, this is where the waterfall quest comes into. Like, there's times where the opportunity cost of getting the higher leveling, of getting the faster experience at the very beginning of the game is going to be really nice, but if you wait until later, okay, now you're going to really just accelerate your leveling. One of the big things with this is I wouldn't recommend leveling any skill past 70 until you have your second XP multiplier, because 70 is kind of that point where most of the skills slow down. The only exception of these would be the invention required skills such as divination, crafting, and smithing. Get those to 80 if you can from the start, so you can start on your invention. But 70 is kind of that threshold where everything starts to slow down. So if you wait until you get that higher XP multiplier, then your efficiency of your training is going to be a lot better. Have fun. This is the biggest tip. This is the most important one. Do the content you enjoy. We're all here trying to figure out what path we're going to take, what we're going to do, what's the best, most optimal way to progress in this league. Whether it's this relic versus that relic, find what you like. Do what you like. It's not worth doing the meta thing. Focus on what you want to do. Because I promise you, you are significantly more likely to reach Dragon Tier if you're having fun with the league than doing the meta thing that everyone else is doing. Having fun is what's going to keep you in it, and it's what's going to make the league enjoyable so that you can get to that late game. We have these meta picks, we have these things, Excavator is the best, or, Divine Gatherer is the best. It doesn't matter. If you don't enjoy archaeology, if you don't enjoy mining, then don't take Excavator. Do the things that you're going to enjoy. The meta is there. You can take the best things, but that's not how you get Dragon Tier. You get Dragon Tier by enjoying the league and having fun and continuously working and progressing towards a goal that you set. That's really the reason that in the first 4 leagues that I participated in on Old School, that I didn't get Dragon Tier, because I would focus on what content creators were saying and what people were doing, and would try and do the best, most meta thing, and it just wasn't me. I don't have the skills of some of the best content. I've played the game casually and I've played for a long time, but I don't do super high level PVM. So why would I try and take their plan and copy it and do the same thing when that's not my playstyle? You're going to have a playstyle. You're going to have things that you enjoy. The Clue Relic came out today as of the recording, and clues are fun. And I remember doing clues last league with the Clue Relic, and I don't typically enjoy clues in the main game, but that was one of the most fun things that I did in all of the league, and I probably had close to 5,000 of my points from the league in just clues of the 60,000 that I need for Dragon Tier. But I knew that I couldn't do, Theater of Blood or Tombs of Amasca or any of the high level invocations for those, or in RuneScape 3, the higher enrages. Not everyone in the game can do 1,000 enraged Telos or 1,000 enraged Zamorak. It's important to know your style, to focus on those things instead of just trying to play to what everyone else is doing. Realize it's okay not to get Dragon if it means you make yourself miserable. We're here to have fun. We're here to enjoy the league. We're here to play RuneScape in a way that we never have before. And RuneScape is a fun game. For those of you who have never done a league, this is going to be one of the most fun ways you've ever experienced RuneScape in your life. It truly is a different experience. It just makes the game exciting. You know, when we're doing a grind of wood cutting or divination or mining or smithing, something that's slow, something that's grindy. We love this game because it's a desktop game where we can just kind of sit back or play the game on the side. But there's times where it gets boring. There's times where we get burnt out. And if you are going to make yourself miserable trying to get Dragon Tier, it's really not worth it. I promise you that. And this is the lesson I learned from the first 4 leagues. And it's actually why I got Dragon Tier in the 5th league. Because I burnt myself out. I was 1% away from Dragon Tier in the 4th league. And in the previous leagues for RuneScape, or old school RuneScape, the tiers worked differently. It was off of the percentile of players, so you had to get a percentile of points to earn Dragon. They changed that, and I'm very thankful to see that they're putting that as the same change for this first league for RuneScape 3, because when you were focused on, you know, beating someone else out, that's where the burnout came. It's so much nicer to just have a static point threshold that you have to aim for, and now you know what you need to do to get Dragon Tier instead of a constantly moving goalpost. I mean, those are my tips. Those are the things that I think, if you want to get Dragon Tier, if you want to get to that point, if you follow these and you come up with a plan, you execute that plan, you focus on your multipliers when you need to train and when you need to go for point tasks, that'll be the difference between Rune and Dragon Tier for a lot of people. This was actually my first YouTube video. I plan on doing several more. I plan on doing some streaming during the league, and like I said, going back to my Chunkman on old school after the league. If you liked the video, like and subscribe. Leave a comment in the comment section for me, telling me what relic choices you're taking, what's your plan for the league, and yeah, just thank you for watching and hope you guys have a good day.